Hey guys, this is Fjarlar. Bruh.
And this is S2.
Alright. And today we'll be discussing the latest patch from China server.
Yeah, they had this patch just come out late April. I think this might count as their May update. So this came out on April 30th on the Chinese server, and it's expected to come out over here in early October. So it's going to be a while, but we're going to talk about it anyway because there's some pretty cool new features and new characters, of course. And we're going to start by talking about Fair Arena. Fair Arena is a new PvP mode that they added to Chinese server. Sweet Dango actually made a video about this already, which if you want to see it in action, you can actually go watch his video if you want. But it's actually very cool because it's a new PvP mode that is friendly to players of all power levels, because in this mode you do not use your own characters. You use a selection of 25 characters that are given to every player, and you get to create a box of 7 characters using those 25 characters. Their levels, their bonds, their soldiers are all maxed out. You get to choose from a certain number of equip sets and enchants, and after you've built your team of 7, you can go in and start fighting. The fight has a ban pick system similar to Apex, but since there's only 7 characters, you ban one, and then you protect one, and then you ban another, and then the final 4 are added to the character you protected. You have a final team of 5 characters, just like any other arena mode, but of course you're using characters that they've set up for you, so any player can join in and have fun, which I think is really cool. And the rewards from this mode are actually really, really good as well. In this new Fair Arena mode, you are expected, or your aim is to win 10 times, but you are only allowed to lose twice within those 10 wins. If you lose twice, you have to start those 10 wins over. You get rewards at 3 wins, 7 wins, and 10 wins. And for the duration that the event is going, you do get a reward box every single time you win for the first 10 wins. So the best players are just going to play 10 times and get all the rewards. But of course that's very, very difficult because only 2 losses are allowed, and that means out of 12 games you need to win 10 of them, which is a very high win rate.
I thought it was 3 loses.
When you lose 3 times, there's a counter that has three slots that sort of count your losses, but once you get to the 3rd loss, you have to reset. So it's actually just 2 losses allowed. All right, any thoughts on that new mode, S2? Are you gonna join in on Fair Arena?
It's just one more content to worry about.
Well, I think it
has its own leaderboard, so we're probably gonna have to. We're probably gonna be forced to play this.
I mean, the rewards are so good that anybody who really wants to keep up with the game rank is gonna have to play it.
So what happens if your 3rd loss? What happens if you lose 3 times? You just can't play, or you have to reset?
So when you lose 3 times, you are allowed to basically reset the bar back to 0, like 0 wins in a row, or whatever. You have to pay a certain amount of gold. I believe it's like 30,000 gold or something, which is not a huge amount, but obviously if you lose over and over and over, you're going to be paying a lot of gold. But the nice thing about this mode is that, I believe Dango mentioned this too, is that you can't blame your losses on willpower. If you lose, it is because you were probably a poorer player. I mean, obviously there's still reason chance and RNG involved, but better players are always going to come out on top in this mode.
What are the rewards again?
In this mode, when you win for the first 10 times, so it doesn't matter how many times you win in a row, but this is just for your first 10 wins. You will gain, each time you win, you will gain 20 Trinity Crystals, 1 SSR Bond Key, and 600 of the Mastery Stone dust, the type of dust that you get when you melt down any enhancement stones you don't want, or from the Quadruple S Timeless Trial. Those type of dusts, you get 600 of them. So, and then there are 3 chests for the 10 wins I talked about. For 3 wins, you will get 300,000 gold, an SSR accessory, and an SSR Arena Stone pack. For 7 wins, you will get 100 Trinity Crystals, and SSR Mastery Stone packs, 3 of them, and you will get 15 SSR Enchant Scroll packs. And finally, for 10 wins, you will get 200 Trinity Crystals, you will get 3 SSR Arena Increment Stone packs and 8 SSR Arena Stone packs. So the Increment Stone packs, as I mentioned, are a new type of enhancement stone that came out in the Chinese server about a month or 2 ago. They were added alongside a new store system. We might talk about that sometime, but to put it simply, it is a way for you to max out an enhancement stone stat that you got really close to maxing out but didn't quite make it. These will add like 2 or 3 points on top to help you cap it. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the new heroes that were added, which is probably what people find the most exciting for every major patch. The 2 new heroes are 2 new Langrisser reincarnation heroes called Rozalia and Noemi. The first thing I will say about them is that both of these characters were explicitly designed to be glory versions of characters that already exist. So this is not a case where the community saw their kit and said, oh, wow, this character is just like this other character. This is completely intentional on the part of the developers. They actually said that they wanted this to be the case. So Rozalia was designed to be the glory version of Leon, and Noemi was designed to be the glory version of Lana. So we're going to start by talking about Rozalia. Do you want to give some impressions you have on Rozalia, S2?
She looks really strong, and she's actually a holy class.
Yeah, that was a mistake that was in the preview. Earlier we had the site say that she had only 2 Cav type classes, and that was because the preview that Zilong Games actually posted said that both of them were Cav holy classes, but once the character came out, it turns out they were. She does have a holy class line. The Silver Knight class line actually is holy, so that is unique to her. She has a 5-move holy physical class. And the second one was that during the preview, she gains stacks of her talent, and during the preview that they posted, it only said that she gained them by entering battle, but once she was released, they added a second clause which says that she can also gain a stack of her talent by ending her turn within 2 spaces of an enemy, which actually helps her a lot. So I'm going to start by comparing her to Leon a little bit. So compared to Leon, she does have slightly less base attack, 620 attack on Strike Master Leon, and Rozalia has 578 attack on both her classes, which seems low, but then you realize that she actually can make that up in a number of ways. She gets 20% attack from her talent. She'll get 15% damage from her talent. She'll get 15% damage from her talent versus Leon, who usually gets 12% if he runs 3 blocks only. And then Rozalia has this terrain effect that will further increase her stats. And not only does it increase her stats, it's also a support type skill that allows multiple people to gain stats. So it's almost like a Lanford. She almost like creates a Lanford field on the ground. It's weaker than Lanford, of course, but it is very interesting. They've been, with all of these newer characters, they've been adding these field type effects. It started with Heinz 3-cost skill, and then they added Licorice, who was just insane, with a giant terrain effect, and now there's another terrain effect from Rozalia.
One thing that's really kind of like discouraging is how much conditions that Rozalia has to do. She has to gain 3 stacks, which means she has to survive 3 times. Well, even just 1 stack is good enough, right?
Yeah, it's even though like you can just gain 1 stack if you want to, and even without the stack, she has many other aspects to her where she's getting damage or getting stats. So I think that's not a huge issue. I mean, she gets the attack and defense portion of her talent only has an HP requirement. The damage dealt requires her to stack it, of course, which means it's a little bit less. It's a little harder than Leon, who just has to run 3 spaces and he gets 12%. But she will get 15% from 3 stacks, whereas Leon can get up to 20%. So I think at the end of the day, Leon might still do more damage, but Rozalia has some utility to her that Leon does not have.
So basically, I think she acts a lot like Sonya, where you have to kill her pretty quickly before the aura becomes even stronger. So that's something to think about, and it definitely puts a lot of pressure on the enemy.
I think one thing that I want to point out is that because she has two skills that are kind of similar to Chivalry in that they let you move again after you cast them, she actually has effectively a 13 block threat range. So she can move 5 blocks, she can use Chivalry to move another 3 blocks, and then she can use her special move called Sword of Asylum to move another 3 blocks, which lets her move 11 blocks on anytime she wants to, assuming there's no terrain in the way, of course. And then she has a 2 range attack, so she can actually be in range to hit the enemy team right on turn 1 if you really wanted to. Except for the desert map, obviously, that probably screws her. But aside from that, that is actually very scary.
And bond requirements, basically, you gotta pull 4 Eris and Maya if you want to use Rozalia. And if you're planning on using Rozalia, you're probably gonna use the Reincarnation faction.
I think if a newer player is coming into the game and looking at Rozalia, because new players do get banners, like I believe they get a Layden and Tiaras banner alongside a Leon, and I forgot I think it was Leon and Lana or something as the starter banners. And in my opinion, that even though Gloria is often touted as the big PvE faction, I think Rozalia is actually a really bad investment for new players coming into the game over Leon, for a couple of reasons. So first off, like you mentioned, Ares and Maya are both required for her bonds, which immediately makes it difficult to get the requirements to max out her power. The second thing is that her factions, Glory and Princess, are actually really bad to synergize with, to deal with PvE content properly as you're coming up in the levels. So consider that Leon, if you raise Leon, he's going to be useful in Sleipnir, he's going to be useful in Valkyrie, he's going to be useful in Phoenix. Glory and Princess means that Rozalia is only going to be usable in maybe Nidhogg from Ancient Beckoning. In H&M, Rozalia is really not going to do anything. In Scylla, she's not going to be able to move around, so Rozalia has a lot of trouble with those factions of hers, I think. For any PvE player who's thinking, oh, finally there's a Leon replacement for Glory or even Princess, but I think it's a bad idea to invest in her if you're just looking to play PvE content, because Leon would probably be a better investment in that case. So Noemi is, as Zulon said, is their Lana sub for the Glory faction, but once I looked at her, my first impression is that she is not as good as Lana, even though Lana isn't even that good anymore. She is actually worse than Lana in terms of damage. She has a couple utility skills that are kind of interesting, but I don't think they're going to be that great, and her factions are really, really bad. Any first impressions, S2?
Yeah, when I look at her bond requirements, she needs young Jessica, and I can't help but to see that. I can't help but to compare young Jessica and Noemi, because they basically fulfill the same kind of role, which is like a long-range mage with some utility. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think young Jessica really shines a lot more.
Young Jessica has healing utility, which is always useful. Noemi's big utility is from her talent, where she gives everybody in your party this sort of shield kind of buff, where if they fall below 80% health, they will get a huge damage reduction on the next attack that hits them. When I saw that, I thought that was very interesting, but my problem with it is that the HP requirement might make it very useless in practice, especially in PvP. Because, oftentimes you're going to see one-shots all over the place, and, it's the only time you're going to drop below 80% health safely, I think, is from taking an AoE or something. I guess in that case, 50% reduction at 6 stars is enough to save you from something, from an assassin or something, because 50% is a lot. But aside from that, I just don't think she's that good. She has intelligence in her talent instead of damage, which Lana has damage in her talent, which is a lot better because soldiers don't have intelligence. So intelligence in a talent actually doesn't help the soldiers, whereas damage in a talent does. The only other thing I noticed about Noemi is that she has the speed support skill, which D-Lit also has. She's the first character to get it. I think they called it something else in the global version. I forgot what they called it. But it's supposed to be called speed support to be consistent with the other support skills, but whatever. But aside from that, she has nothing but single target skills, so she's not even like Lana where she has some AoEs to give her a little bit of flexibility depending on what kind of strategy you want to go with. But Noemi is purely single target attacks, and none of them are particularly interesting. She does not have Dark Reaper, and her, like I said, her factions are really bad. Glory faction is laughable still. Reincarnation faction is it remains to be seen if they can really break out, because they still don't have enough characters to really show if they're good yet. And as for PvE, like with Rozalia, her factions mean that she is not able to participate in a lot of the fights where you might want her. For example, you can't bring her to Leviar. The fight that you can bring her for is like H&M, and she's not gonna do anything in H&M. She's probably decent in Scylla, for Scylla, like, because if you bring... But you did mention Young Jessica, because Young Jessica is also Glory faction, so Young Jessica can go into Scylla and do the same thing that Noemi does, and Young Jessica is probably better overall. That's pretty much all I have to say about Noemi.
She might do some work with her Spider Demon, which her summon actually does something, unlike a Skeleton Mage. And the Spider Demon basically has a 75% chance to inflict like a -2 movement and MDef minus 20% on the target, which is pretty good if you want to follow that up with Naomi. Naomi's one of her single target.
So the Spider Demon's passive skill is actually the same skill as the Spider Demon Soldier has. So what you can, like you said, you can attack with the Spider Demon to lower magic defense, 75% chance, bit of a gamble, but lower M defense and then attack with Noemi. I think it's a waste of 2 cost. I mean, taking up a skill slot, I don't think it's going to be particularly useful. To put things in perspective, the interest on the Chinese server for Noemi is so low that the wiki page for Noemi, I think, is still incomplete. The last time I checked, the Chinese wiki page for Noemi still didn't have her talent filled in. That's how uninterested they are in Noemi.
Alright, let's move on.
Alright, let's talk about the awakening skills. So, as always, this new patch came with 5 new awakening skills. 2 of them are from the new characters, so I think we'll just skip over that because we can talk about those 2 characters perhaps in some other time. The 3 other characters that got their 3 cost skills are Altamüller, Almeida, and Toguro Brothers. So let's start with Altamüller. It sucks.
It really does suck. Next.
Alright, so Almeida got a skill that allows her to heal. It has the same strength as a mass heal, but it has slightly bigger range around her. It also gives everybody a buff that sort of gives a weaker version of Almeida's talent to everybody. I think I am one of the Almeida players left over, and I am very, very mad about this 3C. I think it is really bad. I think it isn't useless, but it is very close to being useless in my opinion. It is, I mean, it's an extra heal, it's okay, but it has 6 cooldown. I'm almost never going to use it when it comes out. I think it's super situational, and it's just not that good. Was it so bad that you died, S2?
I have nothing to say. Dude, these 3 cost skills are so terrible. What the hell is going on? Dude, Noemi's transformation is a 3 cost. What is wrong with that? Young Jessica has a transformation and it's 1 cost. Think about that.
We could talk about Rozalia and Noemi in detail in separate videos, maybe.
Yeah.
For now, let's talk about the final 3-cost skill, which is Toguro Brothers. I'm sure Michizak is very excited about this one. This one's okay, but I don't think it really adds anything new for Toguro Brothers. It just makes them better at what they already did.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really changes. All he does is just charge, single target. Alright.
Yeah, it's like a stronger assault, which is kind of underwhelming. But the buff it gives afterwards is like it's similar to the Wheeler talent, where it heals him every time he's attacked, every time he enters battle. So that is kind of interesting. Makes him a little bit more self-sufficient, I think. But
I'm not sure how strong his healing is.
It's based off his attack, so it will probably be pretty good because Toguro has really high attack.
I really think they should really change how his talent works, you know? Like, he needs some sort of way to really get a lot of stacks, because stacking up to 15 times is kinda... You're not gonna get above 5 if you're gonna play it like Zakama.
you just gotta beat up somebody's tank like 15 times. It's no problem. Okay, let's move on to the 2 new special equipments that they added. I know you're super excited to talk about the Betty's helm, S2. Do you want to talk a little bit about Betty's helm?
Dude, people said it sucks. I'm one of those people who believe. Put that on Betty along with carbon fiber helmet.
All right,
you're gonna see some profit.
I mean, I think the effect itself would have been really good, actually, if it did not have that HP requirement, but sure, carbon fiber plus this helm. Maybe. Well, let's see your Betty strats when Season 5 or whatever comes along as too. Alright, but I guess we'll end on Sophia's special equipment, which I think must have been some kind of mistake because they added it in this patch where they added a bunch of really, really bad skills and really, really bad equipment because Sophia's equipment is really, really good. And it is, in fact, so good that it is one of those things you look at and that you think might just be fake when you first see it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, Sophia is like a standalone faction buffer now.
It is weaker than a faction buff. I mean, it's 15% attack instead of 20, and it's 20% magic defense instead of 30, but it is pretty crazy that she can cast a mass heal and then everybody gets the core buffs that they need to do everything they need to do. I do think Sophia probably needed something really good in order to keep up with just how crazy Wheeler has gotten. It's really hard to justify putting healers other than Iris, Wheeler, and Liana anymore. Tiara's maybe for tank push teams, but I think Sophia was having a bit of trouble. So I think this new armor is pretty well deserved. Sophia fans will rejoice at how good it is. It lets you run pretty much any character you want in your box as long as you pick Sophia. I think it's going to be very interesting.
I don't know if Sophia is still going to be playable despite the unique.
Yeah, I think you do need to plan your use of Sophia still because Wheeler's 3-cost skill is so powerful. Liana has Act Again, very powerful. Sophia's whole thing is Rewind, so you do need to think about how Sophia fits into your strategy when you put her in your box. How are you going to use Rewind? How are you going to use it to put pressure on your enemy? When are you going to use it? That sort of thing. Alright, any closing thoughts as to on this new patch? Do you have any closing thoughts?
This is one of the worst patch I've ever seen.
I think in terms of content they did a pretty good job. This new arena mode sounds like a lot of fun. But
they literally slap a copy of our old units into Glory, put some weird ass 3C awakening skills. What? And nobody asked for Betty's unique. I swear to God, who asked for it?
I was interested in seeing what they were gonna do with Betty's unique, but what they came up with, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, that was my reaction too. Oh.
Just don't worry. We just need to wait for a 3-cost skill. You won't be disappointed.
Let's hope Betty's 3C effect is like a command aura that reduces AoE. Let's hope that works.
That should have been her talent to begin with. Okay,
Yeah, why not let it be her talent? What is your review on the update?
I think they did. I think this new arena mode is a lot of fun, but these 2 new characters, I can't say I'm interested at all in them. I think Rozalia might see some play. Noemi probably won't see very much play at all. These 3-cost skills are awful. Please take them back and fix them. Zalon. Betty's equipment is it's thematically appropriate to her still by being really bad. Sophia's equipment is really good, which I'm sure has made some people very happy. Alright, we'll see. That's our review of this newest Chinese patch. We'll see you guys next time.
Alright, see you guys. I don't know, next week. Bye.